Hi, I'm Emily Price with the Price Group at Keller Williams Collective, and today I'm here to bring you your monthly market update. That's right, we're talking about all things you need to know about the Greater Louisville Housing Market here in July of 2026. We're wrapping up July and we're heading into August because 2026 is just moving with a pep in its step, and I'm here to update you on 5 key metrics that you're going to want to know about if you are actively in the market as a buyer or as a seller, if you're thinking about getting into the market as a buyer or a seller, or if you are a property owner. You are going to want to know just how the market is behaving so you know how it influences your equity. Follow along with me because we're going to dive right in. Up first for our monthly market update for the Greater Louisville Housing Market, we are going to first look at inventory. Now, what in fact does that mean? Inventory references the number of properties available for purchase on the market. So it's the number of properties that are active or for sale. It's the number of properties that sellers are competing against, and it's the number of properties that buyers have to choose from. So, spoiler alert, inventory just keeps increasing. That means more and more sellers are coming onto the market, and it means buyers have more and more choice. So let's take a look at exactly how this is shaping up in our 2026 year. Well, at the top of the year, we started just a little over 3,085 to be exact. Now, where were we this time just 4 weeks ago? So today we're kind of getting ready to round out July, and so when we were getting ready to round out June 4 weeks ago, we were up north of 3,000. We were pressing 3,700. In fact, we were at 3,670. Now we get more into the summer, 4 more weeks into the summer, and here we are getting ready to finish out July, and that number of available properties on market keeps ticking up, and today we're at 3,926. Now, you're going to want to make sure you follow along with me going through the rest of this year because it has been a minute since the Greater Louisville housing market has hit a 4 at the top of that inventory number. Will we get to 4,000 active properties on the market all at once? Only time will tell, but the trend line looks like it's heading that way. In fact, when we compare today at 3,926 homes available for purchase to this time last year, this exact same time last year, we are up by almost 1,000. This time last year, we were at 3,050, whereas today we're at 3,926. So that is over a 28% increase in inventory. That means sellers have 28% more competition than they did this time last year, and that means buyers have 28% more choice than they did this time last year. As we're taking a look at our monthly market update for the Greater Louisville housing real estate market, we look at 5 key metrics. And one of those metrics that we always pay attention to is what the average sales price is. Now, that's different from the average list price. A list price is when a seller comes on market and says, this is my price tag, and that's the price point that the property is marketed for. A sales price is the price point that the buyer and seller agreed upon. It made it all the way through inspections and appraisal and underwriting and so forth, and it went to the closing table and the property closed at that number. So that is the true definition of sales price. So where are we with our sales prices? Well, here's what we do know. We know that inventory is up. We know that 2026 has shown a trend of just more and more properties being available on the market at any given time. Now, real estate operates off of that basic economic principle of supply and demand. So oftentimes, one would potentially hypothesize that as the supply goes up, the way that that impacts value is that we might start seeing the pricing go down because there's more choice, right? So let's see just exactly what's happening here as we're getting ready to round out July of 2026. So here's where we are today. Today, the average sales price for Greater Louisville is $353,000. Well, actually closer to $354,000. We're right under $354,000 as an average sales price. Okay, so that's just kind of like a random drop on a map with no reference. So for us to better understand what that number is, we've got to look around it to get some perspective. So by looking around it, I mean, well, tell me where we were this time 4 weeks ago. So from June to July, what has our average sales price? How has it performed? 4 weeks ago, our average sales price was at $375,989. So we have seen the sales price go a bit like that over the past 4 weeks. Now, keep in mind, when we're looking at today's average sales price, we are looking at the average sales price of today's closings. Yet it's really important when you're working to understand the real estate market that we understand that the sales price of today's closings were price points that were negotiated 30 to 60 days ago. So when we're looking at average sales prices in July, you bump that back to June to May, we're looking at what buyers and sellers were agreeing upon in May and June, okay? So when we say, well, 4 weeks ago, we were right at about that 376 mark, well, that was representative, if that was the average sales price in June, that was representative of what people were negotiating around in April or May. So when you layer that timeline on top of what we've seen the inventory do, it starts to make sense. As the inventory is climbing, it appears that the data is telling a story that the average sales price is starting to relax just a little bit, as we would expect it to do in the basic law of supply and demand. So today we're right at about 354. 4 weeks ago, we were right at about 376. Now, how does that stack up with the top of the year when we went into 2026? Well, at the top of the year, we were right under 330. So we started the year around 330,000. It's climbed, it's climbed, it's climbed. Towards the end of June, we were at almost 376. Now we're kind of starting to find ourselves right here, such that we are going to finish out July a little under where June was, closer to that $354,000 average sales price mark. Now, give me the full perspective, right? The full perspective says, okay, sure, but what were we doing this time last year? So remember, this time last year, we had 1,000 less homes for sale on the market than we do today, okay? So today we have 1,000 more homes available for purchase than we did last summer. So how does that impact the pricing? What would you guess? Well, one might guess that last year's pricing was a bit higher because there were fewer homes for sale on the market. And if you guessed that, my friend, you are correct. Last summer, as we were rounding out July of 2025, we were right underneath $368,000 as an average sales price. And today, as we round out July of 2026 here in the Greater Louisville Housing Market, we find ourselves just a notch underneath that at right underneath $354,000 as an average sales price. Be sure to follow along with me so you can start to predict and place your bets on what the August numbers are going to show up as. As we continue through our monthly market update for the Greater Louisville Housing Market, another key metric we look at every single month here with the price group at Keller Williams Collective is that we look at days on market. Now, days on market is a measurement of time. How long does it take on average for a home to go from for sale to contract accepted? This is important to note because we look at how long it's taking properties to sell, especially in relationship to how many properties are available on the market, and also, of course, in accordance to what those average sales prices are coming in at. So as a quick recap, remember, our inventory is up. All right, we're pressing 4,000 active properties for sale on the market. Louisville hasn't seen that number in quite a bit. We know that our average sales price is just a teensy bit taking a little bit of a breath, even from where it was this time last month. So what are we seeing with days on market? Well, today it's taking an average of 48 days to go from for sale to contract accepted. All right, so that means we're right at about a month and a half, all right? Now, this time last month, so we're rounding out July now, so when we were rounding out June, it was taking just a little bit more than that, just a notch above, at 55 days to go from for sale to contract accepted. Now, how does that stack up to the top of the year? Well, the top of the year was the winter season. We're in the height of the summer season. And at the top of the year, our average days on market, 98 days. So again, that's in terms of properties that have sold. What was the average days on market that it took those properties that sold to go from for sale to contract accepted? So in January, it was 98 days. That's over 3 months. In June, we were about half of that at 55 days. And today, rounding out July, it's gotten a little bit tighter at 48 days. Now, how does that compare to this time last year? Remember, this time last year, we had 1,000 less homes available for buyers to choose from on the market. So there was limited inventory, limited supply, limited choice, and you're exactly right. If you're saying, well, of course that made the properties move faster, you're right, it did. So this time last year, it was taking just a little over a month for a home to go from for sale to contract accepted, 32 days to be exact. And today, a year later, as we are in this, the turning point of wrapping up July, going into August here in 2026, we are at 48 days on market. Now, quick real estate trivia note for you. Remember, days on market, once again, refers to the amount of time it takes to go from for sale to contract accepted. So we're saying right now, so if you're thinking about selling your property and you're thinking about this from a seller's perspective, on average in Greater Louisville, it's going to take you 48 days to find your buyer once you get on market. Now, once you accept a contract, that contract typically closes on average somewhere between 30 to 45 days from there. So that means that with today's process right now, if give or take it's 45 days on the market and give or take it's 45 more days until you close, you're looking at about a 3-month process from the time that you get your property on the market to the time that you're sitting at the closing table getting that check for your net proceeds. It's always good to begin with the end in mind in terms of your goal timelines when you're thinking about real estate. So when you're looking to make your plan for your timeline, be sure to reach out to myself, Emily Price, or any member of my team. And one of the ways that we can help you the most is to help you plan thinking about the end in mind, given the current context of today's market. Well, when we're talking about a monthly market update for the Greater Louisville housing market, one of the metrics we always pay attention to is that of the interest rate. Is just as much as we want to track inventory, sales price, days on market, we also want to understand what that interest rate is doing, because the interest rate is the measurement, it's the instrument, if you will, it's the measurement of how much it costs to borrow money. Most buyers borrow money in the form of a mortgage in order to purchase their property. And so the cost of borrowing that money impacts the buyer's affordability, which therefore impacts how much money they can spend. And how much money a buyer can spend impacts the overall market in terms of what a seller is able to sell their property for. So the interest rate is important for both sellers and buyers to understand. Now, here's the short end of the story. All right, we're just gonna cut to the chase. If you kind of feel like you've kind of gotten used to the interest rate, like it's kind of a little bit stable, like it is what it is, that makes sense, because for this entire year of 2026, really in the past 12-month history, we've been floating all over that 6%-ish interest rate. Haven't seen any huge swings one way or the other. So today, the 30-year average mortgage rate for our country is 6.67%. We're gonna do the 30-year rate first. 6.67% today as we're rounding out July. A month ago, as we were rounding out June, we were like exactly the same, just off by 1/100th of a point. So today we're at 6.67. A month ago we were at 6.66. So the same. Now, if we go back to the top of 2026, we were a little bit lower. We came into 2026 at a 6.2 average interest rate. And yet, if you compare this to this time last year, so if you're sitting at 6.67 today, this time last year, July of 2025, we were at 6.87. So yeah, 6.6 is the story of the 30-year mortgage rate average for our country here as it pertains to real estate. Now let's look at that 15-year rate. Today, it's at 6.17. 4 weeks ago, basically the same, just 0.03 of a point off. It was at 6.2%. So steady Eddie this past month. Now, at the top of the year, it was lower at 5.74%, and that 15-year rate this time last year was a bit higher than it is today at 6.32%. So think about it this way. If you're a buyer or you're thinking about being a buyer, what a sweet spot you're in right now, because in accordance to at least the last year, you've got more choices. The inventory is up considerably, and you've got a lower interest rate than you did this time last year. It's really a great market to put a lot of good opportunities together. And remember, if you're following along with me, I share this tidbit with you every single month, so you probably know what I'm about ready to say, and yet it's worth repeating. When you look at the 50-year averages for our country, the 50-year average for mortgage rates. So what is the average of the U.S. 30-year mortgage rate? in the past 50 years, it's 7.1%, okay? So anytime that you are locking a 30-year mortgage rate under 7.1, just know you're getting it underneath that 50-year average. So that's it's got some winning energy to it, right? When we look at the 5 key metrics every single month, as I, Emily Price with the Price Group at Keller Williams Collective, are bringing you your monthly market update for the Greater Louisville real estate market, one of my favorite metrics to look at is that of the absorption rate. So the absorption rate measures basically kind of what type of market we're in. It measures, are we in a seller's market, a balanced market, or a buyer's market? Now, how does it do that? How do we look at that? What we're really saying is we're looking at what is the pacing of the activity on the market, and if the pacing were to stay the same, how long would it take us to sell all the inventory? That's what the measurement examines. So specifically what it says is it looks at how many homes are for sale on the market today. And it pretends as if no other property entered the market, if the market froze, which it never does, but if it did, it says this is how many homes we have for sale. So remember, today in Greater Louisville, we have almost 4,000 homes for sale. This is how many homes we have. Then it says, what is the pace by which the buyers have been buying property, aka what is the closing pace on average? And if that pace stayed the same, how long would it take us to sell all the inventory? So today, even though that inventory is up, again, we're up 1,000 homes of inventory more than we were this time last year. We are pressing on the $4,000 figure, which I haven't seen in Louisville for quite some time. And even with inventory being that high, our absorption rate is still in Greater Louisville under 3 months. We're at 2.76 months of inventory, which is incredible. And what this means is that even though the sellers are increasing because inventory is representative of sellers, we also know that the buyers are almost keeping pace with the sellers, because that's why our absorption rate is holding so steady, that the buyer pace is keeping up with it too. So that alone, and we could just stop this little note right here, but don't worry, I'm still going to give you the history around it. But even if we did, that alone tells us when we are in a 2.76 month absorption rate, we know, and inventory is up, and interest rates are down from where they were this time last year, we know that's a great opportunity for buyers. And we also know it's a great opportunity for sellers too. They are in a seller's market is anywhere between 1 to 5 months of inventory, and you're sitting right in the middle of that seller's market at 2.76 months of inventory on the market. So, all right, where were we this time last month? Because today we're rounding out July. Where were we when we were rounding out June? We were a little bit faster by a hair. We were at 2.52 months, just a little bit faster. Now at the top of the year, we were a little bit slower at 2.85 months. And then if you take today and compare it to this time last year, as we would expect, days on market were shorter, inventory was tighter, the absorption rate had a bit more pep in its step last year. This time last year, in July of 2025, we were at 2.09 months. So yes, so we are seeing our market start to kind of find its new, almost, dare I say, relaxed pace, but we do see a shifting of pace happening, yet nothing drastic and nothing that is prohibiting opportunities for either the buyer or the seller. So there you have it. As promised, that is your monthly market update for the month of July 2026 for the Greater Louisville housing market. I'm Emily Price with the Price Group at Keller Williams Collective. And at the Price Group, we make sure that a big part of our commitment is making sure that we are acting and serving as your real estate consultants, meaning we are here to be your ultimate real estate resource so that you have accurate and real-time data, and in a way where it makes sense and equips you with clarity, because clarity is power. The more clarity you have, the easier it is to make decisions that serve you and your family and the goals that you have in any way as to how real estate relates to them. I'm happy to chat with you specifically about what goals you might have for your real estate, whether we're looking at the rest of 2026 or even starting to plan for 2027. So many of my clients and I, we sit down and we meet for the very first time, sometimes 12 months before we do anything. And that is the way the savvy buyer and the savvy seller does it. We put together a proactive strategy, looking at facts, looking at trends, to be able to make sure that we're crafting a pathway that's going to serve you. So the first thing you want to make sure you do, no matter what, is hit that subscribe button so that you can follow along with me every single month. I promise every month I'll deliver to you an informative and easy to understand monthly market update. So whether you're thinking about buying and selling, or you are buying and selling, or you are a property owner and you're wanting to better understand how your equity is performing and how you expect it to trend moving forward, my monthly market update is going to give you the clarity and the insights that you need and that you deserve. I'm Emily Price with the Price Group at Keller Williams Collective. Again, here to serve you as being your trusted real estate consultant and advisor. And for all of our clients and our friends and family, of course we take care of you during your move, but we love to take care of you and all the years in between. Again, hit the subscribe button. You can't afford to miss out on this information we bring your way. I'm Emily Price, and I'll see you next month.